for some peace of mind, but TikTok said a gator drove a Jeep through the blinds. Florida man's at it again with fireworks and a goat, and someone married a ghost in a Dollar Tree coat. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is going on? Aliens dancing in a Waffle House song. Karen's got a taser in the checkout line, and Dr. Oz just adopted birds to fight off crime. I'm just sitting here scrolling my jaw on the floor. The internet's a circus and I can't take no more. Yeah, when it's wildin', there's a raccoon in the sink. Someone robbed a Wendy's just to steal a frosty drink. A pastor's gone viral yelling about the end is near, while folks ride hoverboards in wedding gear. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is this mess? Florida's a movie, but it's filmed in VHS. Someone fed meth to a squirrel named Dave, and now he's in a cage just throwing rave. I'm just...
Good morning, everyone. Well, it was raining cats and dogs and possibly small reptilian creatures last night, and but on the positive note, Mr. Mo was here, and he watched the Comcast guy do whatever it is that Comcast magical guys do. They did run a new line and give us a new towery light up thing. As I said, like JKD Buck was like, so what did they send you or what did they do? And I'm like, Mr. Mo was in charge of that. So not quite sure, but everything is working. So, you know, I am grateful it's working. I am not quite sure what they did, but they did say that there were some sort of issues with our connection. So I am glad that he was able to see something, because there's nothing worse than having something in your house, you know, act up, and then a technician finally gets out and it decides to be great. But on the funny note, so as soon as he was touching the modem towery thing, there was a lightning strike very close to the house, so our lights flickered as well. And he's like, I was like, we don't have a poltergeist to my knowledge. He's like, well, has this been flickering like this? So Mr. Mo was all super worried that the power was going out again when he got home. And I said, no, you know, several things happened all at once. He touched the modem, lightning struck, and I turned on a light. So, but everything seems to be working. So I am super duper excited. Now, unless you are under a rock, this is not going to be news to you. And I find myself oddly wanting to cover this trial at some point, because I think there were a lot of interesting things brought up from this trial. I thought that both openings were pretty good, and I do want to see the father's testimony at some point. But we're all a little tired of the kiddo trials for now, so this will definitely be something in the future. But I think legally, and more broad strokes, is this going to be something that is going to trickle down? Is parental responsibility going to be saved for capital crimes, you know, red rum, that kind of thing? Or is this going to trickle down to misdemeanors, to criminal mischief, to, you know, the nuisance crimes that we're seeing a lot of unruly teen mobs kind of do in bigger cities? Is this going to be the new philosophy going forward, that we hold parents responsible for minors' activities or issues? All that being said, I haven't kept up on the trial that much, so let's get into the article, because I've been kind of full into the Corey Richins. And Tammy, this is a wig. So this is a wig I got from Rebel Gypsy. Rebel Gypsy is a website. They sell wigs and fashion stuff. I will say they're pricey. But if you want them their wigs come with wig clips, which I find really helpful, especially if you don't wanna use wig glue or things like that. Uh, so, uh, I think I got this in one of their mystery bags, which is really awesome because it's got, like, light pink to red, and, I can make the side braid. I always thought that the side braid was so elegant. I've just never had my hair long enough to even consider a side braid. Yes, you guys know it has always been a struggle between Little Mermaid or Rapunzel as to who I wanna be today. Father of alleged Winder, Georgia school mass casualty event has been found guilty. Now, a jury found the father, Colin Gray, uh, guilty on all 29 charges, including 2 counts of second-degree red rum and 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Now, Colin Gray is 55 and could get up to 180 years in prison for purchasing his son, Colt Gray, the weapon that was used to, well, create the tragedy at the Appalachia High School in 2024. Now, Gray, 55, did gift his son the rifle after being warned by sheriff's deputies that his son had possibly threatened an attack on a school. Now, the deputies could not prove that the threat was posted by Colt, but there were indications that Colt might have been, implicated, that there were warning signs. That being said, the therapists and everyone else in his life couldn't didn't send him in either. So, again, if we are going to co-parent with the government, where are those lines drawn? Where does the government automatically step in if the parents are incapable of dealing with the child's behavioral or mental health issues? If we're going to co-parent with the government, where are those lines? Question. Basically, he set up the conditions to make it happen. So if he had not purchased the gun, this would not have happened, or it would have been less likely that Colt would have been able to get his hands on a force multiplier. So that's the other thing. If we're going to start, co-parenting with the government, if the government is going to start punishing parents for not stepping in, then we need to figure this out. This is going to be a whole new set of laws, and I foreseeably see the Crumblies and this, prosecution being in appeals courts for a long time. It's a slippery slope. I agree. Look, here's the problem. There is a problem. We have groups of wild teens and parents who have decided to check out of the parenting process. So there is a problem. We do have people who have children who seem to think that raising them to be a functional part of society is optional. So how do we as a society deal with these unfunctional parents but not criminalize parenting? And unless we wanna have really hard conversations about culture, about responsibility, about exception, uh, or not exception, oh, for gosh, accepting responsibility, then we're not gonna get through this. We can't punish our way into good behavior. We need to set up accountability. I am personally of the mindset that if you punish someone harshly the first time they mess up, create consequences, not a, diversion program, then we can, usually scare 90% of the people from doing that again. And again, if we wanna talk about reform, we can, of course, look at reforming criminal punishment to more rehabilitation, or rehabilitative options, but there are always going to be those small group of people that are just not fit for society, so what do we wanna do with them? Again, answers are not slogans, they're not sound bites, so they're not easy to talk about, they're not easy to put on, or they're not easy to put on a campaign slogan, so no one talks about them. But if we want to have a serious and, you know, debate on where parental responsibility begins and ends, then we're gonna have to have some really tough conversations about cultures, about personal responsibility, about what we expect from parents and what we expect from the government. Now, that all being said, closing arguments did take place on Monday in the Colin Gray case. Now, Colin did take the stand, and that is something I want to look at because it is rare that defendants take the stand. Most good defense attorneys will keep their defendant away from the stand. But in this case, I think because it was based on the reasonability, would a reasonable person knowing Colt's problem, have gifted Colt a weapon, and I just don't think I don't know, every family is so unique. What works for one family doesn't work for another family, but I think there were missed opportunities. But here's the other problem. If we criminalize, you know, attempts to reach out and bond, I get that not a lot of people are rural people, but there is, a culture of bonding with your kids for hunting. Now, I don't know what we're gonna look, I just put on wigs and tell y'all the headlines. This is a whole lot of thinking for the morning, but I do believe that this is going to be an issue that is going to be more and more prevalent, and I think it's going to be something that legislation and lawmakers are really going to have to hammer out because I do see this being, um I do see both of these cases, the Crumbly and now the Gray case, being worthy of appeal because these are new legal precedents under which they're being prosecuted as far as responsibility of their minor child. Now, prosecutors argued that, in their closing statements, that Colin should be held accountable for giving his son the weapon, and defense attorneys argued that he had no idea that his son would commit such a violent act. Now, prosecutors said that Colin Gray knew what could happen. Quote, every person in this community wanted to know one thing: who did this and how did it happen? Everyone except for that man, the defendant, Colin Gray. He wasn't asking that question because he knew exactly who had done this and how it happened, the prosecutor said in his closing arguments. The blood is on their hands, the prosecutor said. There were months and months and years of warnings of violence, including the teen's fascination with other mass casualty idiots. The defendant had sufficient warning that his son was a bomb waiting to go off, and instead of disarming him, he gave him a detonator. No, Devader, this is the trial for the father who gifted his son a force multiplier, and then his son went on to use said force multiplier for the mass casualty incident at Appalachia High School in Georgia. So the father has been found guilty of all of the crimes. So that's 2 counts of second-degree murder, 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter, and then reckless endangerment. 29 different charges and up to 180 years in prison, should he get the maximum sentences on all, depending on how they sentence this. Now, Colt Gray, the actual shooter of and monster in this tragedy, is still waiting to go on trial. Now, this is a departure from the Crumbley's case. In the Crumbley's case, their son was charged and had already received, I think, his or possibly already received his sentencing, uh, prior to the Crumbleys going to trial. So this is the first time that the parents' involvement was actually adjudicated prior to the child's. Now, the victims in this were, Richard Aspinwall and Christina Irme, both, teachers, along with students, Christian Angulo and Mason, uh, Scheimerhorn. So, again, this will be interesting. It doesn't say here when he is supposed to get sentenced because I am looking at that. However, I will try to keep, ahead and oh, and thank you, Denise. So, we have that. Now, I just do not understand what is wrong with people here lately. Every single day, it's like another day, another person with a one-way ticket to Snake Island. It's like these teachers cannot help themselves, y'all. I just
The
don't know
curse, we
what's
got a rule for the wicked, the cruel, and the worst. If you lie, if you cheat, if your soul's made of bile, you're bound for the fangs and the venom in style. Oh, one-way ticket to Snake Island. Oh, where the conscience, less cowards and gaslighters go. No anchor, no lifeboat, no tearful goodbyes. Trust isn't uncommon in cold-blooded skies. Back up your friend.
every daggone day, a new teacher doing crud she should not do. I swear to goodness. Is it a millennial thing? I mean, legitimately, I was up last night pondering this. I don't know why it's fun for me to ponder things. It's kind of like my sport. But I was pondering this. I wonder if there is going to be studies or if there are going to be future studies that link something about the millennial psyche, the millennial female psyche of a certain age uh, to predilections to kind of a reverse sort of Peter Pan, like a never growing up, because a lot of people like, I'm not I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but it does seem like a lot of people my age and around seem to be in this extended childhood. And look, I know I can't say anything because I I hang out with Sailor Moon and all that other stuff. So I don't know that I am the perfect person to say this, but I can say as much as I indulge in crafting and cartoons, I don't I don't injure or lay my hands on anyone else's children. So there's that. A married high school gym teacher charged with essaying a student. Quote, I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe you aren't going to drop the soap. Also, Butterface. Yikes. A married high school physical education teacher has been charged with essaying a student whom she admitted to sexting and kissing, but denies ever fully, well, getting with. Uh, Alicia Crins, 39, started sending flirty text messages to a boy when he started his sophomore class at Pognaset High School in Gloucester, Rhode Island, after she found his number online. Ew, again, why are you checking out? Have you met 15-year-old boys? Look, as a mother to a nearly 14-year-old boy, Imma tell you that all he talks about is like, "Bruh, yeah, no way, bruh." Like, that is his conversation. How can you be attracted to that? No damn idea. Stop. They smell like my 13-year-old son right now, I have to delineate the steps of taking a shower. You get into the bathroom, you turn on the water to your specific temperature of choice. You step into said shower, you get under said water, you put soap on your body and shampoo in your hair, you rinse those off. Like, this is the level. Honest to goodness, I never thought that I would be the Adam Sandler, I have the stinky kid, but out of my 3 boys, I only have 1 of them that I don't have to argue and whine to get them to take a shower. But that one takes, like, hours-long showers, so it's an opposite problem. For the love of Cheetos, stay away from children. Now, she eventually sent him nude pics and videos and allegedly kissed him twice, including once while straddling him in the backseat of his car. That's a face I'd want nowhere near my face. Horse. Sarah Jessica Parker, have we found your are you related? Mr. Ed? When quizzed by the cops, the married teacher admitted to sending the X-rated pictures as well as having, well, you know, gone to maybe second or third base with the boy, but insisted that they had never gone further, despite, openly discussing plans to, well, do it. Uh, Now, the teacher's flirting started with her saying that the boy looked good and creepily asking to wear his sweatshirt before teasingly asking him what he would buy her for her birthday. Handcuffs, get used to it. Krenz proceeded to ask him for a kiss and then gave him her address. Ew. I can't believe I'm gonna do this. Like, you can't tell anyone, she said before grabbing his face and kissing him for 15 minutes. I hope that she's, going to be getting divorced. Husband, leave. Leave now. Take your children. Now, for the next few days, the former teacher bombarded the boy with flattering text about being a good teacher or a good kisser and how she couldn't stop thinking about his lips. Ugh. She invited him over for, the next weeks and went back to, third base, I guess. Now, the student showed the police the racy photos and videos of her in a lingerie set that she sent him when he was only 17. Now, the teacher also sent him nude photos and videos once he was 18. Now, they both told investigators discussed sleeping together but never did. And the teacher told investigators that she eventually asked the student to stop messaging her, quote, due to her being his teacher as well as married. Yeah, those are the 2 things you should have thought before you were cruising TikToks of preteens. Now, Cringe was charged Friday with 2 counts of third-degree SA, and she is scheduled to be arraigned on March 18th. Now, the superintendent has said she's no longer employed at the district. Well, goodoy. I mean, no crap. Now, in an interesting, and bigger legal thing, the Supreme Court is learning or is looking at possibly changing marijuana usage being a restriction on force multiplier, uh, ownership. Now, y'all know I'm not the most expert when it comes to force multiplier ownership, and we do have a legal expert, Bronca, who will probably be talking about this more and much more educatedly. So but I'll read a little bit of this. Now, the Supreme Court on Monday appeared to be sympathetic to a Mary Jane user's challenge to a federal law that borrows people who consume, well, the not street legal pharmaceuticals from having firearms. Now, gun right advocates argue that the law falls afoul of the Constitution's Second Amendment, which protects the right to bear arms. Based on oral arguments, it appears a minority of the court could rule in favor of Texas based Ali Danal Hamani, an alleged regular user of the Mary Jane who had a force multiplier at his home in Texas when it was searched by the FBI in 2022. Now, the ruling could be limited in scope based on concerns that prosecutors could not show that Hermione's use of well, the MJ made him a danger to society. Now, the case does put a spotlight on the current administration's somewhat mixed messaging on, well, force multiplier rights. Now, that being said, I do think this will be an interesting one to look at. As I said, I haven't looked at the kind of paperwork and what this case is actually going to entail, what this looks at, but I do think that with more states legalizing recreational or medicinal use, I do think that this is a legitimate concern that the Supreme Court will eventually have to deal with at some point. Now, I'm sure there are going to be arguments on both sides, and since I'm not the most educated person on force multipliers, or, well, not street legal pharmaceuticals, uh, I would say wait and let's hear some of the arguments, but I'm guessing that Bronca and Kurt, since he does more of the Supreme Court thing, would be a good resource to look at if you want to get more information about this particular thing. I just thought it was interesting, and I have wondered where we were going to fall on that with more people turning to, you know, THC in particular. And turning away from opiates, for pain management. So I do wonder, if is going to be sort of, well, we're gonna be at loggerheads at some point. And I do foresee this being a bigger issue as, the baby boomers move more into the age of retirement and, want to not go on opiates for maybe arthritis or chronic pain, but then, risk, their rights being infringed on. And if there's anything that I have known in my entire life is if the baby boomers want something to happen politically, well, it gets done. So as soon as their rights are, which again, I get it. You guys were the biggest generation. And y'all did a lot. Like, don't get me wrong, but could you give us Gen Xers and Gen Lennials a chance? We'd like to screw up the future of, the Gen Alphas ourself. I mean, you got a chance to screw us up. We'd like to screw up the next generation. But if you never hand over the reins, then that's going to be kind of hard. So, Nancy, I know you're retired, but good Lord. Well, in the rest of this is basically just final form Jesus headlines to keep us white pilled and moving through the day because you guys, we are in for a full day of high speed financial testimony, which means my ADHD will be tested to the limit. So I found some funny headlines, y'all, and some happy headlines.
The key keep its grove, thou gloaming shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, final form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack listening, sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
Well, a Florida woman with no right hand was ticketed for holding a phone in her right hand. I feel like this could be easy to win in court. And thank you so much, Tammy, for being a member for 11 months. It's been longer. Thank you. But I absolutely love Mo and Chad. Thank you. A Lake Worth Beach, Florida woman was pulled over Friday 11th and cited for using a wireless communication device while driving. Now, according to the citation, a Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office deputy observed her with the device in her right hand as she traveled northbound on North Dixie Highway. Here's the only problem. She literally doesn't have a right hand. The woman who goes by at slightly off balance on TikTok recorded the traffic stop and posted it online, where it quickly went viral. In the video, the deputy can be heard stating that he saw the phone in her right hand and she pushes back on the spot. The charge, wireless communication device handheld while driving, first offense, under the Florida statute carries a civil penalty of about $116. Since she requested body camera footage from the police department and she says to fight the citation in court, but the right hand detail is almost beside the point. The attorney says the ticket likely wouldn't hold up even if she had two hands. Well, there you go. But still, yeah, you think, now to be fair, maybe the deputy is as directionally dyslexic as I am, so he picked the wrong hand. Honestly, I am so directionally challenged that the hokey pokey gives me anxiety. I am not joking. The Cupid shuffle, because my brain is like, which side is left and right? Like everyone else just kind of knows, or maybe they don't. Maybe I don't know, but I just know that I'm like, left, step to your okay. Yeah, no, I'm just saying, again, it's all the weird quirks of me. I am that directionally challenged that the hokey pokey legitimately gives me anxiety, which is weird. Well, in interesting news, and I do think that this is a miracle for people, and I do think a lot more people struggle with infertility than we know. And I do think this is a miracle for people who may not have ever had an option for parenthood before. But I do think this opens up a slippery slope as far as well, custody. I mean, now, I do understand that this is from a deceased owner, but would there be custody issues if this was maybe a living transplant from a living relative? The first British baby born using a transplanted womb from a deceased donor, a baby boy in England, has become the first child in the UK to be born using a womb transplanted from a deceased or a deceased donor, not owner. Well, I guess it is an owner and a donor. Grace Bell, who is in her 30s, was born without a viable womb. She says her little boy Hugo, who is now 10 weeks old, is simply a miracle. Now, Bell and her partner Steve Powell from Kent paid tribute to the kindness and selflessness of the donor and her family for the incredible gift, while also thanking the medical teams in Oxford and London who were able to support their journey. The surgeons involved said the birth was a groundbreaking moment, which could give hope to many women with similar diagnoses. Now, Hugo was born just before Christmas in 2025, weighing nearly 7 pounds at Queen Charlotte and Chelsea's Hospital in West London. Now, Belle is one of around 5,000 women in the UK affected by a condition called MRKH syndrome, which means she was born without a womb. Uh, so basically born without a womb, but she does have ovaries. So if she were given the donation, then she could, in theory, carry a child to, term. So just absolutely interesting. I think it's really nice. I think it's lovely that this family, uh, is now here because of a donation of another family in the worst moment of their life. They have no, the donor family isn't claiming the child. I just see I foresee issues if this becomes a mainstream thing, but I absolutely love that out of a deep, deep hole of pain, this little miracle of hope is born from that, and I just hope that it continues to be used for good. So that was a good one. And then, well, this chick should go to Snake Island with the other one. I have kind of interspersed a black pill with what the HE double hockey sticks. Now, first of all, this chick looks like the evil twin of if y'all have seen Young Sheldon, the wife of Georgie, it looks like her evil inbred twin. A nurse allegedly had the smexy time with her patient, then accused them of assault to avoid consequences. Set straight to the center of the sun. No. A Wisconsin judge, Wisconsin, what is going on, Wisconsin? Denounced a nurse who had, well, the smexy time with her patient, and then later admitted to wrongly accusing them of SA as a quote, embarrassment to nurses everywhere and women. We would like, from a woman, we would like to add that we don't claim her either. So go ahead and add us in that whole denouncement. The woman, Melissa Kunston, really, or Nutston. Look, I'm going to pronounce it Kunston. Was sentenced Friday, February 27th to 1 year and 6 months in prison in connection with her alleged SA of a patient who had been participating in drug court. What? Drug court? Seriously, you saw an addict and you were like, "Ooh, that meth mouths make that twitching you do." Really is sexy. I wonder what really in drug court? Like, aim high? What? Now, Melissa, 30, was accused of having, well, relations with the patient multiple times while she was working as a nurse in Monroe County. Now, police didn't indicate if the victim was a man or a woman. Interesting. Ahead of sentencing, Judge Paul Curran found Melissa guilty of misconduct in a public office and obstructing an officer after she pled no contest to both charges. And thank you so much, Wolfram. For the misconduct charge, he sentenced her to 2 years of extended supervision with an additional 18 or month sentence. Now, the district attorney's office said she was also handed a concurrent sentence of 180 days in jail for the charge of obstructing an officer. Now, the judge described her actions as despicable in court. Now, her defense attorney, Meredith Davis, did not immediately return Us Weekly's request for a comment. According to the district attorney's office, someone ultimately reported, well, Melissa, to the Wisconsin Department of Safety and Professional Services because of her alleged, well, smexy times with her patient. I really do. I really do. Now, afterward, to, save her own ass, she claimed that the patient had SA'd her, according to authorities. Now, this was treated as a serious accusation by police, according to the Monroe County District Attorney, Kevin Cogner. Now, during the investigation, however, officers found that she'd been lying. She later acknowledged that she hadn't been SA'd and instead fabricated the allegation to avoid consequences of her while sleeping with a patient. Don't do this. Don't do this. Um, I don't know who needs to hear this, but don't sleep with your patients. Now, this is not a medical at all, and I'm gonna go ahead and put out here that Billy Idol might be the only person that this particular addiction program has worked for, and I personally do not endorse this. Billy Idol says smoking crack helped him quit heroin. I mean, I don't know how is that like step 16 of a 17-step process? It feels like this is an Uncle Buck thing. Billy Idol allegedly started smoking crack to kick his heroin addiction, and spoiler alert, it worked. Who is writing these articles? Like, no shit. In other news, if you just switch one addiction for another, it's not it's like I've stopped heroin. During an appearance on Club Random with Bill Maher, Idol admitted that smoking the crack helped him stop heroin. "Did you really?" Maher asked, and Idol, replied, "Yeah, it really worked." In the new documentary, Billy Idol Should Be Dead, the 70-year-old rocker spoke about his career in the bad boy ways that almost cost him his music career and his life. "I had it all and I lit it with butane," he told the New York Times. While building his successful career, Idol took many risks with his life, including battling addiction to heroin while also speeding through the streets on motorcycles, driving way too fast, saying, "I am super lucky." In an interview with the Associated Press in April 2025, Idol shared that rock and roll lifestyle that embraced drugs and that he took his first hit of acid when he was 12, as you do. "There was a point in my life where I was very drug addicted," he's added. Okay, what step are you on? Have you, like, given up heroin but took up nicotine, or are you on have you given up nicotine and taken up caffeine? I just where are we now? I'm so confused. I'm lucky I've kept the brain I've got because some people went brain dead and some people ended up in jail forever or dead, he told the outlet. Imagine it if it was today. If I was doing what I was back then today, I would be dead because I would have run into fentanyl. When speaking with the New York Times, Steve Stevens, Idol's longtime guitarist, explained that he learned a lot when watching the documentary, including just how bad his addiction was back then, with the documentary explaining that much of his bad behavior was hidden from the public at the time. Now, Idol moved to the United States in 1981 and tried to make it as a solo artist after parting ways with his band in the UK, Generation X. His drug use ramped up as his popularity increased, according to People. Well, it was the 80s. I mean, I don't know what your daily recommended dose of the white powder was in the 80s, but I would assume it was like a line or 2, just going on, general media from the 80s. So there you go. As I said, probably not the addiction path that any of us should take, but it's Billy Idol, and Billy Idol is made different, okay? So I wouldn't do this. Now, y'all, what in the name of Hades and a handbasket has gone on with Jim Carrey? And and look, I always loved, like, Ace Ventura and stuff, but what in the Mickey Rourke is going on here? I mean, I I am all the confused. I really am. Like, what is? Because Jim Carrey, Mickey Rourke, Jim Carrey, Jim Carrey on a diet. What in God's name is this? And I say this as a person who has an entire section of their closet dedicated to costumes. But I what in the name of Cheetos? Again, perfect example. Jim Carrey, Mickey Rourke. I I need someone to explain-orate this because I am confused. Well, Mr. Carey, wherever you are, whatever face is yours, I hope you're living life and enjoying it because that looks you know what? If you feel beautiful, I don't get it, but I look, if you feel good, I really don't get it, but you do you, boo. Well, this this, above all things, might be the reason that the aliens will not give us technology. I leave you all with this. Well, I have a white pill story after this, but can we blame this on Satan? Can we blame this on Satan? And I say this as a former theater kid, like a normal one, okay? Like, yes, I wear wigs. Yes, I dress up. But I don't make Luigi Mangione the musical. I mean, I make the musical of Trials, okay? I guess I can't throw look, pot, kettle, but this is still wrong. Luigi Mangione, the musical, immortalizing the accused CEO Unaliver, is set to premiere on the New York City stage. Oh, theater kids, how to make yourselves more irrelevant. A ghoulish musical comedy. Yeah, let's make it a comedy about someone losing their life when they were just walking into a building. Immortalizing the alleged United Healthcare CEO gun person, Luigi Mangione, will premiere in New York City, the real-life setting of the shocking assassination this summer. Luigi the Musical will take the stage at the Green Room 42 in Midtown West on June 15th. a mere 20-minute subway ride away from where he allegedly shot his victim. Ugh. The twisted satirical comedy provides a bold, campy, unafraid take on the accused assassin's life in lockdown while on trial for the murder of the father of two. It's marketed as a tale of love, murder, and hash browns. I say this as a person who takes the piss in trials. So I get that maybe people are probably thinking, "Well, you make fun of Sarah Boone and her suitcase, so, they just made a musical." I make fun of Sarah Boone. And this is a love letter to Luigi Mangione. I make fun of Sarah Boone because I know it's going to hurt her feelings more than her being in prison. I know Sarah Boone is more upset that YouTubers make fun of her than she took a life. So I hit her where it hurts, figuratively speaking, in the ego. This is massaging whatever you believe about healthcare or not. A a person who point blank took a father from 2 children. So, I don't get it. Now, since we're all sufficiently black-pilled, you know, for forever, I do have a sort of happy puppy kitty moment to break things up and end our day. So, here you are to bring us back to hope and humanity and love.
When the world feels like a dumpster dive and humans forget how to thrive, take a break, just you and me, with a puppy and kitten, wild and free. Paws and purrs, let's drift away to a land where tails wag and play. No more noise, just gentle muse in our furry four-legged cruise.
Oh, a four-eared foster kitten in Alabama has become a viral star. And let's see, now you won't be able to hear it, but we should be able. Let me get to the kitten part, and then we'll put it on full screen. Oh, it does have 4 little ears. I want it! I want the double-eared cat. Oh. So Dobby, a 5-month-old black kitten, was born with an extra set of ear flaps that resemble a second smaller flap of ears. Stephanie Brown is fostering Dobby for Kitty Cat Haven and Rescue and says the extra ears don't really, uh, you know, affect him. Now he does have, an overbite that they are gonna correct, but as soon as he's out of surgery for that, he will be available for adoption in Alabama. So I hope he gets, the surgery and he gets to feeling better, and then he finds his forever home. But you guys, with that, I am going to leave you so I can take a quick restroom break and get ready for the Corey Richins trial. Now, we are going back and we are going to be going through day 7. Uh, it says morning, but we'll get to what we get to today. That's just kind of what we'll do. And Nick will join us when he can. He has real life work. So I will. Let me see. I should have you guys set to go over there. I love that I'm like, I think I am in fact a professional. And then I'm like, maybe, maybe not. It really is a conspiracy. Yes, you guys are set up to go over there. So I will see you guys in just a few short minutes. Have a wonderful day, and we will be back with the Corey Richins trial on day 7. Bye, you guys.